Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we got Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure you tag at Star City Games if you want him to see your comments and send his favorites over to us. As always, we are brought to you by Star City Games, as well as Carnox Chairs. If you go to carnox.com/SCG, you will get 10% off your purchase there. If you want one of these nice gaming chairs, you can do that, and we'd be happy if you do. We've got an awesome show today.
Oh, yeah. This is exciting. We don't get new formats more than every 3 months very often. And now, just everything's changing. We're getting so much new in this environment of Magic right now. It's really exciting.
Yeah. All throughout Eldraine preview season, you kept talking about how it was like Christmas for you.
It really was,
now Christmas is coming again.
Yeah.
And then in 2 months, actual Christmas will come. And then a month after that...
What, you mean just that holiday where that guy breaks into my house? Yeah, no, I would prefer just new Magic cards. That's better, yeah.
If white bearded men are breaking into your house, you might have a problem. You should lock your doors.
Yeah, we got to leave our gingerbread cookies out.
Yeah, you can't leave those out in the open. Put those in the fridge.
Yeah, Garrick will take them.
Come on.
No, but it's exciting. I mean, we not only have the standard format that is still new enough to explore. We have standard that now is getting a big shift, so that's a new format. Modern is still kind of changing all the time, but now, tell them about this, what we got going on today, the newest of the new.
Yesterday, we got a significant announcement from Wizards of the Coast, a new format, Pioneer. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but for those of you who have not, it is going to be Magic's newest non-rotating format. But it is going to be everything from Return to Ravnica forward.
Yep.
So no Innistrad. A lot of the really powerful core set cards that made it into Modern, like Ensnaring Bridge, Blood Moon, the Tron lands, not going to be around. No Manamorphose.
No Tron. Can we talk about how great? I mean, it's so exciting. You get a format where Tron controls a little aspect of it, because it doesn't matter what kind of control shell you want to build or something, they almost always have horrendous matchups against these Urza lands. So it's really broadening what we can do. And now, I mean, there is going to be insanely busted interactions, and Wizard did make a point to tweet out the fact that the format is whole as it is now, but there are going to be bans kind of aggressively made. They're keeping a close eye on it. So, before you go and buy your favorite deck that you're like, oh my God, this deck is so broken, it probably is, and it may not stick around.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you never know. This Pioneer format is sort of a testing ground.
Yeah.
For Magic in a very different way than it's been played for about 20 years now.
Yep.
And that's because the initial ban list is the 5 fetch lands that were in Concept Arc here.
Yep.
So those friendly ally color fetch lands aren't going to be around fueling Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time. They aren't going to be around fueling Deathrite Shaman. They aren't going to be around fueling Delirium.
Yeah.
And so,
or just 5 color good stuff kind of decks,
fueling our mana base.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all these cards that seem like that were broken when they were initially printed because of how powerful fetch lands are, have to prove themselves in a different context. So we really have a very different format than what we're used to. I've said that fetch lands are among the most powerful cards in the history of Magic, and I'm really happy to see them start with just those, because now we get to see which cards really do rise to the top.
True.
And we got everybody who's been playing for 5 to 10 years. This is about 7 years of cards. Gets to go back and revisit some of those standard decks that they really enjoyed, whether it was Mono Black and Mono Blue Devotion, or Abzan and Jeskai from the Khans era, or I don't know. We're gonna play a 4-color rally deck later on.
Or Saheeli, yeah. I mean, honestly, the amount of time that I've played Magic, I have lived and played through every single one of these sets. So now I feel like that old guy that's like, oh, I played Battle of Zendikar in Standard and we liked it,
Yeah. I mean, I remember original Ravnica. I remember somebody bringing to my local game store in 2005 a printout of Temple Garden, which was the first Shockland that was previewed, and just passing it around and everyone reading it and be like, wow.
Yeah.
And now, Return to Ravnica is the beginning of the older format.
It's pretty crazy, because, I mean, I remember when original Ravnica came out, asking my dad, please, can I draft one more time on Moto? I'm going to do well this time. And then, no.
You didn't do well.
Yeah, his credit card really got me into competitive Magic. So thank you, Dad. But one thing I do want to say about this format is Modern's kind of not going anywhere, but this is the non-rotating format that's kind of, hitting the reset button, right? Like Modern is still a great format, but it has become very degenerate, right? Like, so we're hoping this is kind of, or I guess they're hoping that this is kind of that format that's still very powerful and still very fun, but it's not, the turn 3 combos every single time and kind of the high variance that Modern is. But we'll see. I mean, there's still very powerful interactions in this set.
Modern's gotten big enough that it surpassed, standard decks of days past when it was first. After they cleaned up the initial mistakes on the that were allowed to live for that first Pro Tour, we got a season where like Jund was popular. We got to see and Affinity was popular. These old standard decks. And then eventually people found Tron and people found Amulet Titan and Birthing Pod and the cross block synergies that people found took over because they're really powerful. I assume we will find similar things in this format, but a lot more of those updated old standard decks will be powerful enough to compete.
100%. And I mean, starting with what we're playing today, I mean, I pretty much took my GP New Jersey winning Saheeli cat deck, had to make some severe changes because I looked back and I was like, wow, this sideboard's so narrow. But it was only like Mardu Vehicles and Saheeli at the time. So you were either sideboarding for the mirror or you had a bunch of Release the Gremlins and Natural States and stuff like that. So it took a lot of updating and stuff like that. And we get some new tools, but that's essentially what I'm playing today for my first deck is 4-color Energy Saheeli combo that gets some new life as far as sideboard cards, which we'll get to when we head to the sideboard here. I really want to talk about kind of all the additions because we're attempting to sideboard for a new world, right? So we don't know what to expect, but there's some clear upgrades like Veil of Summer in a Saheeli deck. That's insane.
When I think Black has the best removal in the format with Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, along with some others, Cast Down Ultimate Price kind of stuff. In particular, Fatal Push as being the premier 1-mana removal spell.
Kind of the only 1-mana removal spell right now. We're in a world without Path, which I think is really exciting because 1-mana premium removal gets old. I mean, and then Fatal Push without Sacklands is going to be incredibly less powerful than it is in Modern right now. So we will see if that even becomes a staple that you want.
I think it'll see play just like it did in Standard when there weren't a lot of easy ways to turn on Revolt. We still have Fabled Passage,
True.
Treasure tokens that things make, Clue tokens, a lot of things that you can add. But you're right; it's not going to be the way it is in Modern, where it frequently kills 3 and 4 CMC creatures. And this Felidar Guardian Saheeli is, I think, pretty clearly one of the more powerful things that you can do in the format. There's a ton of different shells that you can put it into. I've seen Jeskai, I've seen 4-color Energy, I've seen different 4-color lists. I know I was watching Caleb Durwood's stream last night, and he had this he was paring down from 70 cards that he was just thinking about, and he had Voice of Resurgence and Risen Reef, these elementals in the deck somehow. People are putting Teferi in the deck, maybe Teferi to stop you from interacting on your turn. So you just play Teferi on turn 3 and just go off.
And I mean, general ideas that I have so far, I think generally the 4 Oath, 4 Teferi, 4 Saheeli, and then maybe even 4 Oko if you really want to go Planeswalker heavy, play Gilded Goose as your ramp. We do have Llanowars, but we don't have Birds of Paradise. We don't have Noble Hierarch. So that is a hit. But there's that kind of shell. You can also play what we saw kind of at the end of Standard where you had Aetherworks Marvel, which was kind of being incorporated into the Energy Saheeli plans just as another way to essentially combo off. Of course, then you have to play Ulamog, Emrakul, and your deck gets a little clunky like that. But, you said it right. The sky's the limit on these. You can do so many different things with not only this deck, but plenty of other stuff. So,
yes. And, my starting point for the format was, of course, an Izzet Spells deck.
Oh, yeah. That's right on brand for you.
Granted, we do have access to Treasure Cruise, so
Yeah.
there's some motivation to want to play it. Is it spells?
There
deck.
is, yeah.
So
but you didn't need it.
No, I did not. But they gave it to me anyway. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've built for the first match an Izzet Prowess deck. So
Okay.
I'm playing the 8 1-mana Prowess creatures, Soulscar Mage, and Monastery Swift Spear.
Okay.
I've got Dreadhorde Arcanist and Jace Vryn's Prodigy following them up. Dreadhorde Arcanist a little awkward with Treasure Cruise. I'm wondering how much I can get away with, because we don't have something like Thought Scour that really fills the graveyard. We're just relying on cantrips, like I'm playing Crash Through. But I do have Opt. One of the big things is I'm calling the deck Izzet Wizards, because one of the other big motivating factors was getting to play Wizards Lightning. A 1-mana removal spell that actually is Lightning Bolt that other decks don't have access to. A little awkward with Dreadhorde Arcanist, but I'm playing 2 copies of the Royal Scions. Another way to, fill my graveyard and then plus on Dreadhorde Arcanist and get to flashback things like Charticourse or,
Can you pump it big enough to flashback Treasure Cruise is the real question.
That's going to be a tough one, but I think we'll be okay.
All right.
We got some aggression here. We got some good removal. All my creatures work really well with Reckless Rage, which I like. Both Prowess creatures will grow out of range when you cast it. Dreadhorde Arcanist naturally has 3 toughness, and then with Jace, sometimes you can target the Jace and then loot in response.
Yeah.
Transform it and get your Reckless Rage that way.
Yeah, Reckless Rage seems great.
Yeah.
So, seems really strong, and it works with all your prowess creatures.
Yeah, a lot of cool synergies here. I think we've talked enough. I think we should just get into the match.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a great time to ask some questions. So we're going to try to, I would say, probably play best 2 out of 3 so we can answer a good amount of questions, because this is a good day for questions. I want to hear feedback from you, what you all think of Pioneer. So make sure we have a new tag. I don't know, you mentioned it, right?
At Star City Games. We changed that from at SCG Tour.
Perfect.
So make sure you update that. And I think we'll play 2 pre-boards just because, sideboarding is...
We didn't build exactly perfect sideboards yet.
Yeah.
At least I didn't.
Nobody knows what's going on.
All right, now I got the marbles, so you are going to be going first.
Indeed, I am.
All right. Oh, this is a classic hand.
Yeah, I think this hand is reasonable. We don't have a great turn 1, but our turns 2 and 3 should be solid.
I'm going to keep this as well. Obviously, a little land light here, but, this deck does have plenty of ways to add land, so we're going to keep.
Okay. I will start with a Crash Through, so all my creatures get trample.
Trample, yep, okay, yep.
Okay, then I will
Good
attack
start.
you for 0 and trample over for 0.
Oh, to the face, yeah.
You can go.
All right. Oh, this feels good to say. Attune, 2 energy. Where are you, Jacob Ba? There we go.
It's been a while since Jacob's been on.
It has been a while. I still have some kind of sadness of using this because he did beat my brother in the top 4 in a crazy match at the Invitational. So every time I use this, I just, I brought it out on purpose to dagger my brother every once in a while. For family,
That's just good. That's just good deck building. Okay. Ooh, that's a little awkward. So I think we need to try to build towards these, and that means playing Soulscar Mage.
Soulscar, okay. We don't care too much about that. I don't think it's worth trying to kill at the moment. So we're just going to play that mountain and then just go for a servant, get 2 more energy, and we'll pass it to you.
Good draw. Let's shock to 18.
Okay. Oh, the mana bases are so good.
Play Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Okay.
Wizards of Lightning, the servant.
Okay.
And then attack for 2.
All right. We'll go to 18.
Pass the turn.
All right. I definitely want to keep Arcanists off the board. Arcanists are really how you just gain an absurd amount of card advantage. So we're going to do that now. Gain 3, lose 3 energy, and then we'll play. My mana base is not as perfect, so I wanted to put it. I think I only put in 1, but.
Classic Frontier Bivouac.
Yeah.
Just get in for 1.
Okay.
You're at 17.
17.
Island pass the turn.
All right. No Treasure Cruise. That's cool. That'd have been a good one.
I'm 1 short of Treasure Cruise.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, it's 8. I thought it was 6 and 1.
You can imagine if I had, 2 fetch lands here.
Yeah, it would have been. You'd have extra mana. You'd be able to cruise and play a creature. All right. Well, we're going to start with just one of my favorites. Oh, it feels good to cast this ban card again. Go up to 6 energy. All right. And then we'll just go Stomping Ground and pass to you.
Okay.
I swear this is a Saheeli combo deck. We're not just team
I'm
energy.
going to Reckless Rage the Refiner and the Soulscar so I can get a 4th card in my graveyard.
Yep. Because it's cruise time.
Indeed it is. Not the best here, but I'll
Still
take my...
a strong card.
And then I will opt.
Okay.
We do not need another land, so we can bottom that one.
All right.
And then I will attack for 3.
14.
You're up.
All right. Untap. Okay, now... So now if we look at my hand, we have some options here. Which creature to cast? We're starting to get a decent amount of damage put through, so I got to be a little wary of these prowess creatures, but I don't think I necessarily have to deploy my defensive creature quite yet. So we're just going to go Rogue Refiner, keep the value coming. All right, draw a card, and then we'll go land and say go. God, new formats are fun.
Let's play a crash through.
Okay. You have 1,000 cards, right?
Something like that.
Okay.
So now I have to be a little wary of Corey comboing starting next turn on 6 mana.
I can kill you. All right, Steam Vent's tapped.
Back for 2.
So a block likely has my Rogue Refiner dying. You don't want to do that? Okay. I'll block.
Did not think that was going to happen. Okay.
Okay. I'll take that trade.
Yeah.
Trade with your 1-drops.
Of course you would take the trade. It's just
Yeah.
very unlikely that a trade happens. You're up.
No guts, no glory, as I always say. I always say that. All right, so we are going to start with a Whirler Virtuoso. Get a ton of energy. So we're up to 11. You want to respond to the trigger?
Yeah, I will respond to the trigger taking 1 to... Oh, no. Yeah, I can pay 3.
Okay.
Wizards lighting that.
I will respond.
So I'm at 17.
I'll respond by making 2 Thopters.
Yep.
Nick Miller getting some camera time.
And then you go up to 5.
Yep. And now, do I want to do anything else? I think so. We're going to place the Healy Right.
Yep.
And we're going to tick up, deal you a damage. Scry.
I'm at 16.
I think I'll keep that one. And then your turn.
Okay. Let's play a Swift Spear.
Okay.
It's Treasure Cruise.
Oh, boy.
I need 1 more.
3. That's 4?
That's 5.
Okay. Okay.
It's so these are 2s right now.
Yep.
It's slip through space one of them. So they're 3s.
Indestructible?
No, unblockable.
Oh, okay.
Send both at Saheeli.
I'll chump the one I can.
Yep. And I'll take another one and play a Jace.
Okay.
I'm at 15.
All
you
right.
can go. Hope I'm not dead.
Yeah, I don't think you
I've
are.
drawn a lot of lands.
Yep.
But when you cruise, like that's something that you can do. So maybe I need some sort of... I have 1 Magmatic Insight. Maybe I need more.
Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to do you 1. Should have
so 14 all.
I
took 1 from the
Oh, okay,
shooter.
sure. So 14 all.
Yep.
I'm going to scry. Card's not bad. All right, we're going to keep that on top. And... yeah. Okay, we'll keep that on top. Going to cast a Chandra.
Yep.
And we'll kill that. Then I'll pass to you.
Feel like we got a Harness Lightning here.
You never know.
Send both at Chandra.
Okay, I'll block one.
Yep.
Harness Lightning the other.
Yep.
Okay.
So you gain an energy.
Gain an energy. Yep. Go to 6. This dies.
Play Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right. So now we want to start by... We're going to scry, deal you damage. 13. Think we'll keep that one. And then we're going to add mana.
That's not good.
Overload Mizium Mortars. Your turn. A nice little addition that the Saheeli decks didn't have access to back in the day. I was looking through upgraded removal for the deck, and I was like, well, Oath of Chandra was the spot there, and Oath is just not that good, but Mizium Mortars, it's kind of spicy. Okay. We're going to tick up top ability. I could play a backup Saheeli. We'll just have that deal you 2.
11.
Okay, and then 1 in scry. I'm gonna bottom that.
10.
10, and then Whirler Virtuoso. Past you. Planeswalker advantages, gotta love it.
Corey, when you were building this deck, did you put any thought to a dig through time or 2 in your deck?
I didn't, but I definitely could. I mean, you go so deep, but I feel like it's not a very good card advantage engine when you're looking for the combo. But admittedly, I didn't put too much thought into dig through time, but it would be spicy. Does chat think it would be sweet?
That was Tan and Grace. Yep.
Oh, Tana, nice.
Pass the turn.
Could just start trying to kill you. Let's make 1. Let's make another 1.
Yep.
We'll leave it at that.
It's a good number here because Corey has 2 from the Chandra and 1 from the Saheeli wrapped up. And
Yep.
I'm at 10, so another 2 gives him a 2-turn clock.
Energy from Aether Hub.
Yep. And leaves his options.
Tick
open
up
with the other
top
energy.
ability. 2 to you.
I'm at 8.
Okay, and then target Whirler.
Reckless Ragent in response and the Soul Scar.
Okay. Felidar Guardian.
Sure. I mean, I wasn't beating a copied Whirler. I probably wasn't beating a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing is I was like, even if I get to copy a Whirler, I'm getting enough energy where I can just probably kill you on face value. And if not, then I just, copycat. Oh, they were going to come. The Benny. All right.
Well, convincing game 1 there. And it's really just the mid-range aspect of the deck.
Yeah. I had Felidar Guardian like the whole time, but I just didn't have white. So maybe it was just poor deck building, but
I couldn't really get my synergies going. I couldn't get the point where Treasure Cruise was like super good, where I'm casting it for very little.
Yeah, you did draw 6 cards.
Yeah, I cast two Treasure Cruises, but like, every single card you cast generated some advantage and it eventually cascaded beyond that.
Yeah.
Because your just individual cards were more powerful than mine.
Did you ever put any consideration into Chandra? The 4-mana Chandra in your deck? Seems kind of sweet.
Yeah, I figured I was a low land count deck, but with all the Treasure Cruises and cantrips, you hit land drops, so I probably should have more powerful cards. I'm relying on Jace and Dreadhorde Arcanist, and you just killed those on the spot. And I wasn't really able to get something super impressive going with the 1-mana creatures.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that was our first game of Pioneer. New format. First game. Come on. This is sweet. All right. Let's take some questions here because I know you're probably antsy to ask some, and I'm kind of antsy to answer them.
We do have a few here.
Okay.
So first one for Histeus. How do you...
Is this a first-time question from this person, right?
Yeah, first one ever.
First one.
How do you feel that Aetherworks Marvel will stack up against the other combo decks that we've seen people kind of brewing so far?
So we were and everything. Sure, we were kind of talking about this a little bit before the break, and we're kind of leaning towards it. It doesn't seem as good, just because there's so much more better degenerate combos. But I mean, if you remember, I mean that deck ran over standard. Like, it's still insane to be able to You know, I mean, what could it turn 3 spin if possible if you attune?
No,
I don't think so, right?
no, because
Yeah.
Even if attune, well,
Attune Servant was the only way, right?
yeah, so if you went attune servant, that's 4 energy.
But then
and
you have to spend 1.
And say you have 3 Aether hubs, but you have to spend 1. So say you had Aether hub, Sanctum, Aether hub, right?
It would
That's
be
the best.
Aether hub, Sanctum, Attune, Servant, Marvel would be the best you could do.
Yeah, and that would be 1 short.
That would be 1 short because you have to spend 1
And
with
1 for the
Servant.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't seem fast enough. Like, I think there's going to be Kethis combos out there. I think there could possibly be like Emery, Jeskai Ascendancy combos. There's Felidar Guardian combos. So I don't know. I think you'd have to build it more like a mid-range deck and then just a teamer mid-range deck and then eventually have the Marvel combo as your win condition. But I don't know if that's good enough.
Yeah. My issue is that in order to utilize Marvel in that kind of a shell, you need to build heavily towards energy, which means basically playing the standard deck.
Yeah.
You know, you got to play your puzzle nuts, your servants, your attunes, your rogue refiners.
Yep.
Maybe, and your virtuosos. And so that's your deck. You know, you're just playing the old standard
maybe you
deck.
could add like Okos as an upgrade.
Maybe you've got Veil Summers in the sideboard.
You still might need green puzzle box, you know, like that was kind of the big engine for him, you know?
So, and I don't know if just playing a standard deck is going to be better than playing a similarly powerful combo shell like Saheeli Felidar Guardian and getting, you know, significant upgrades from the rest of the format. It makes me skeptical of Aetherworks Marvel in particular.
Yep.
Now, if some of these more powerful engines get banned, we could get to a point where Marvel is quite good. But
yeah, it seems like the tier 2 combo for me.
Yeah, I think the most degenerate ones are going to be combos that borrow from a bunch of different sets and put together some cross block synergies.
Yeah, like Kethis, like Emery. You know, I mean, these things that combine Emery and Ascendancy or Kethis, you know, the legendary permanent. Like, I bet there's a sweet Kethis deck out there. There's just got to be, you know?
Yeah, somebody will find it.
Yeah. But, I think the shell that I would think the best or would be best for Aetherworks Marvel would just be what I'm playing. Because I'm already playing those cards. You just, like, replace Chandra, and then you have to kick out some of your other spells, like Oko. I have a couple of those and stuff like that. And, like, some removal.
In your deck and some Ulamog's or Emrakul's.
Exactly. I think that could be okay, but then again, I think I'd rather just play Chandra and stuff like that. But great question, Histeus. We got one more while we get ready?
Yeah. Okara 115 want to know, there have been some good mono red standard decks since Return to Ravnica. How do you feel that mono red is as a starting point for an aggro deck in this format?
You got Hazoret Fever?
Actually, I'm not playing Hazoret in a lot of my red decks. They're actually lower curve than that because there's so many cards to pick from.
Sure.
But I've got a lot of different red decks brewed in my file. We're going to be playing a nearly mono red deck later on, or I will be. That'll be a Tarka red. Will come up in match 2. I also have a Goblin Cavalcade red deck.
Yeah.
That's playing like Legion Loyalist, Fanatical Firebrand, Goblin Rabblemaster, Hordling Outburst, Stoke the Flames, Pile Driver.
Rabblemaster's Leo too, and Stoke the Flames. Oh wow!
And Pile Driver even triggers Cavalcade while just getting pumped by all of your other 1/1s.
Slapping some Torbans for funsies.
We're not. We stopped the curve at 3. So,
okay.
So that's one way.
Why do you hate Hazoret and Torban, man?
I mean, when I have all good 1s, 2s, and 3s, I just don't want to put 4s in my aggro decks.
That's fair. I see. Me personally, I really want to try Ramunap Red. You know, just like the revitalized Ramunap Red with some extra upgrades. Like, you know, I just think the land's insane. You could play the desert that deals a damage, Scorching Desert, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Play Hazoret. You know, you still get like very premium removal spells. I don't know if it'd be great, but it'd probably be solid.
I also have an artifact-centric red deck.
Yeah. I wouldn't...
Ginger Brute, Bomat Courier, Shrapnel Blast, Pia, Steel Overseer, Smuggler's Copter.
Oh, yeah. Steel Overseer feels a little weird there if it doesn't pump like your Pia and stuff like that.
It pumps the token off Pia. It pumps Smuggler's Copter. It pumps Ginger Brute and Bomat Courier.
You had me on Smuggler's Copter.
And I'm splashing for Scrappy Scrounger.
You had me at Old Smugs.
Oh.
My first Pro Tour back in Kaladesh, like when Pro Tour Kaladesh in Hawaii, I got to play that deck, and I did pretty well with it, and I miss playing it since then. It was like banned shortly after. I think.
I bought a set on release weekend. Still have them. I gotta dig them out. They're on my coffee table somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Mono Red just takes down like the first PTQ though. Just everybody's trying to do this fun things, and everyone's just like, "Yep, 1-drops and Hazarets. Let's go." All right, great questions. Keep them flowing in. We're gonna play game 2 though.
Yeah, this looks like a nice one. where I could potentially set up some powerful early turns.
This one, if we look at mine, is a lot more sketchy here. I don't even know if we can truly keep this. It's just slow. I don't know if I can be slow in this matchup. I think we're going to take a disciplined mulligan here. Just lands and 3 drops. I don't think we're going to get there.
I'm not keeping hands on the draw that start on turn
exactly.
3.
If I was on the play, I would keep that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we got time for one more question. If you got one over there, Rob.
Yeah, so this is kind of 2 questions rolled into one.
Oh, we only have time for one, Rob. Sorry.
Well.
Yeah.
This is like the math teacher that decides, it's only 2 problems, but each of them is like goes down to F.
Yeah.
Really 2 problems?
So the format isn't really defined yet, but do you feel that control decks will be viable? And given the way that mana bases are, like, do you think that they'll just be 2 colors, or do you think that 3 colors, possibly 4 colors?
You can definitely work a 3-color mana base. I think so. The way I'm looking at it is, if I'm being aggressive, I want to be centered around allied colors, because they have all the lands that enter the battlefield untapped on the early turns. The enemy colored fast lands, the enemy pain lands, along with shocks. But if I'm playing, a slower deck, then I can just be playing the shock check land mana bases that we've seen. Those are very consistent, good mana bases for 3-color decks.
Yeah.
And you throw in some other things as necessary, maybe Fabled Passage. I don't know.
Fabled Passage is still good into this format.
Yeah, maybe some temples. But there's a couple different ways you can go with control decks in this format that I like. I think you can go classic Azorius and play Revelation and Verdict. And
little Teferi, big Teferi.
Yep.
Oof.
Big Teferi with Revelation, like go to my end step, float 2, untap, rev.
Discard 6.
And then I think you can go towards a more Dimir-centric Torrential Gearhulk Dig Through Time.
Oof.
I don't think I want to blend Dig and Revelation. Not that like Rev decks can't play some number of digs.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be playing like 3 to 4 Revs, 3 to 4 digs in your deck.
Yeah.
That's just too many big spells. But Torrential Gearhulk Dig Through Time is... wow.
See, that kind of world just scares me. Like actual control strategies. When I want to be like interacting heavily, my brain is going towards like 3 or 4 Thoughtseas, like a Sultai kind of like Sidisi deck that also interacts, has great removal, but then you also play like Whip for like, late games and stuff like that. Like actual control shells, I don't know. They seem pretty good, but
I think that there's pretty good removal. I particularly like Sultai with that shell for Assassin Trophy and Abrupt Decay. You can play Heroes Downfall. You can play Oko somewhere. You can play Jace's Prodigy in these decks. So there's a lot of options.
Cariad, I think, is just a really good card that we're going to see a little bit later.
Yeah,
used a little differently by you, but.
That's a little bit of a different deck.
But we'll save the surprise.
There's a lot of options for control. I definitely think we'll see those style of decks not only exist in the format but thrive in the format, because the card advantage is quite good. The removal is not as good as it is in Modern, but also this format's not going to be as fast as Modern.
No,
like, you're not going to be dying on turn 3 and 4. With that kind of
regulation. You're playing against this, but
you can, but like when you have a bunch of counter spells and removal,
the Shaheen our very own Shaheen Surani, and then the Wufatafas of the world are getting to work on these Esper decks. I promise you.
Okay, so
I'm gonna keep this one. I put one at the bottom.
Perfect. I will start on Canal Soulscar.
Okay, your turn.
I will attack for 1.
All right, 19.
I will play Shivan Reef, Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Okay, you're up. All right, we're going to take 2 and play a Servant and get a couple energy, and we'll pass 17. It to
you. Okay, let's play Monastery Swiftspear.
Okay.
Let's play Slip Through Space on the Soulscar Mage.
Okay.
And draw a card.
This is looking pretty scary.
Take a point and play an Opt.
Okay.
I'll go to 19.
Okay.
We don't need more lands. What did I just say? And now I'm wondering if I want to slip or opt. I'm pretty happy if the Servant just chump blocks, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I'll
just opt. So this will be the 3rd spell cast this turn, and these will be 4s.
Okay.
And that one we will for sure keep.
So I'll take 8 and chump, or just block the Arcanist. So I'll go to 11.
You'll go to 9, right?
I took 8, and I took 1 the first turn.
You shocked.
Oh, yep. Down to 9. You're right.
Yep. Pass the turn.
Okay. Now we're in trouble.
That was a better start than we saw in game 1.
Yeah, a little bit. And here, like, I mean, if we look at my hand, I can play, like, you know, some decent creatures and stuff here, but we really need a land drop. So we're going to go down 1 and then up to 3 energy. Play a Rogue Refiner. Didn't hit. We'll pass to you. This is probably game.
Hopefully. Just need a removal spell.
Yeah, I needed a removal spell much earlier.
Is that game? Okay, well, we'll definitely play another Swift Spear.
God, this deck feels like it's right at home for you. Like,
Cast and Opt.
you need Delver in this deck, and then you've officially got your deck. You'd never play anything else.
Unfortunately, not a local card. Jesus. Let's shock. Go to 17.
Okay.
Play another Swift Spear.
Oh my God.
And so now, if I
I'm
opt
just
again,
dead.
these are 3s, and this is a 2. Yeah, that'll be 9.
Yep.
So attack with everything and opt.
All right.
I can't cast an Insight.
GG's. That was a beating. I had the combo in my hand, but I just did not have anything
so many
to
prowess
go.
creatures.
That's pretty good. And yeah, that is, I mean, look at the difference between this game here is when I killed your prowess creatures on time or when Arcanist got to activate.
Yeah, it was when you killed these. Like, because that's, otherwise I would have just sort of run out of gas.
Yeah. And I had a Harness Lightning there, but I had no land. So, like, I could have played it, and, like, maybe it would have been a better play. But then if you kill my Servant, I have no color. I have no blue. Yeah. I just had 2 Stomping Grounds. So I was in a lot of trouble. All right, well, we are going to head to the sideboard for a third game. See what kind of tools we have built up for each other, because I'm guessing it's not a optimal strategy we have, but
hard to sideboard. This is basically preview season for Pioneers. So
exactly.
We'll see what we got, and we'll finish up this match.
Sounds great. See you there. And welcome back here to Versus Live. We are playing the Pioneer version of Pioneer. The new format here. We are trying it out firsthand, and we are sideboarding between 4-color Copycat, 4-color Saheeli combo versus your blue-red, I would say Delve strategy without Delver.
We're calling it Izzet Wizards.
Izzet Wizard.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
They're all wizards.
Gotcha.
Is it wizards?
They're not. A Monastery Sorcerer is not a wizard, but
is Arcanist a wizard?
Arcanist is a zombie wizard. Soulscar Mage is a human wizard.
Okay.
Jace is a human wizard.
We're not just going to be blue-red prowess?
Blue or you can call it Izzet Prowess, you call it Izzet Wizards. I don't know. Izzet Spells.
You have to call it what Cedric tells us to call it.
Yeah, whichever one Cedric prefers. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what I'm going to be sideboarding, I really love just the game I won for game 1. I dealt with your Arcanist. I dealt with your creatures effectively. And then when I can minimize it to 1 or 2 creatures, it's somewhat manageable. But if it ever gets to like 3 or 4, you're just going so wide on me, and I just really don't have a chance to come back. So I'm bringing in just other good effective removal. I'm taking out Whirler, even though it was really good. It felt like more of a win more card because I was going to beat you with the Planeswalkers. And if I'm just making blockers, if you're slip through timing them or you're crash throwing these, chump blocking with tokens isn't really going to cut it. So we're just going to do that. A little small swap here for better removal.
Yep. And I am also bringing in some additional removal. These Wild Slashes, they can break up the combo because you have to -3 your Saheeli during the loop, and then I can target the Saheeli.
Yep.
They also just efficiently deal with Servant of the Conduit and Rogue Refiner, which are a lot of the early roadblocks you put in the way, and let me save my better removal, for later in the game. And get through that early damage. And I think keeping that aggressive stance is really important because I want to stop you from establishing those Planeswalkers. I am trimming a Treasure Cruise. I think I think you noticed you were watching closely. Like it was difficult to cast for low amounts. I think I cast 1 for 4 mana and 1 for 5 in game 1, and didn't even cast the one in my hand in game 2 because of Dreadheart Arcanist. So I was worried about how easy it would be to cast. I certainly wanted to start at 4 because we've seen how good the card is, but initial impression after just a couple games seems like it's a little bit too difficult, and it might be something you only want in small numbers.
3 or 2 of.
Yeah.
Seems like a perfect 2 of.
Yeah.
But 3 might be pushing it, but yeah.
So we're going to trim 1, still keep 3, and then I think Crash Through is the worst cantrip in the deck, so that's the one that gets trimmed to make room for 1.
I love it. Okay, we're going to shuffle up for our third and final game here with match 1. We got a question there, Director Rob?
Yeah, we've got a few here.
I bet.
So
exciting day.
I was wondering, when you're coming into a new format like this, should you be trying to break everything, or do you think it's fair to maybe try to play some mid-range decks?
I think it's fair to do both.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing to do is to adopt to your play style right away. Like, just try to find something that really, if you're a combo player, try some of these Saheeli combo decks. If you're Shaheen Sarani, try a control deck. I think this format's so wide open and there's so much exploring to be done. Right now, it's do what you want and what you think is the funnest or the most fun, and then just from there. Be able to adapt.
Yeah, and there are powerful options no matter what you want to do. If you want to get really aggressive, there's various flavors of mono red that I described.
Yeah.
I've also built a mono white aggro deck that is human based. It plays like a ton of good 1-mana creatures. You've got Kithy and Thraben Inspector, things like that. And then Thalia's Lieutenant and Benelish Marshal is a human, and then Venerated Loxodon. So I have 3 really good anthems.
Nice.
Just flood the battlefield really quickly. And then you get to play Brave the Elements, super powerful card. Gets your entire team through for big attacks, protects them all from sweepers like Flame Sweep or Anger the Gods, or just protects one key creature from, a shock or something like that, Wizard's Lightning. So there's a lot to explore. You can, if you like devotion decks, you can play a mono blue devotion. Is Curious Obsession good in that deck?
Ooh.
Can we play Brazen Borrower in our Curious Obsession deck and go more tempo oriented, like the most?
I didn't even think of a mono blue Curious Obsession deck. That could be the real deal.
Have you thought about what happens when you play Master Waves and have blue up for your Siren Storm Tamer? You remember what happened with Master Waves? Like, if you didn't kill it, the game was over.
Yeah.
So now I just have this card that says, well, you can't kill it.
So the game is over.
Yeah. So there's
fair.
just so much to explore. We talked about control decks with Verdict and Dig Through Time, different options. If you want a mid-range deck, I've seen a lot of people talk about Delirium. I've got a Sultai build in my file.
Yeah.
There's Abzan builds if you want a Siege Rhino. So I completely agree with Corey's sentiment. Just play the things that you want. If there's going to be some broken things. Things will get banned in the coming months. So I wouldn't be super worried about like being the person that gets a card banned in the next month, because there's not a huge paper tournament for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna play some Magic Online PTQs, and if you really want to win those, you might want to look for the broken stuff. But if you're just playing stuff at your local store, testing things out, play the things that you like to do.
And honestly, this is kind of off topic, but when they're saying how decks and cards, may not have a long shelf life because they're trying out this format, it's scary to buy these decks, right? Because all these prices are going to be up. So if I have never seen a better time to use like a card hoarder or mana trader service, it's now. Like, I mean, I already use card hoarder, but to get cards online for, $20-25 instead of like buying a deck and then it gets banned, like that feels bad, but so I think it's time to use one of those services.
Yeah. Play around, figure out what you want to be doing. And really, it's overwhelming how many options there are. But
it's like when you wake up and I hate to beat this analogy to death here, but it's like when you wake up on Christmas, okay? You go downstairs, you look under the tree, and you're like, oh, this present's for me. It's a Saheeli cat combo deck. Oh, this one's a control deck. There's so many different presents to open here.
Coming from a rather large family, I have 3 siblings. So, 6 people in the family. There was always like presents everywhere, wrapping everywhere. And Christmas morning, it was a disaster zone.
Yeah. And then you got the coal in your stocking, right?
No, the awkward part was if you like accidentally like reached for something you thought was yours and opened a present that was meant for someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know what the analogy. I don't know where I'm going with this.
So you're saying if I reach for a present and I open Esper Control, put it back because it's Shaheen's?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if you open any sort of Izzet deck, that's either from me or Todd.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go first here. Game 3 of Copycat versus Izzet. And I got to keep this. This hand isn't insanely great or anything, but it's good enough.
Same. My hand's fine.
Pass to you.
Hopefully can find some more threats to go along with the Swift Spear, but we'll get in for one.
19.
You're up.
All right. Well, untap, I will go with a 1 energy, and then we're going to go up to 3 with a Servant. Pass to you.
Okay.
The classic start, Aether Hub Forest.
Well, I will Wild Slash the Servant.
Okay.
That's what I brought this card in for. And then we'll cast a Slip Through Space on the Swift Spear and get in for 3.
3, okay.
You're at 16.
16.
So starting in this new format, what do y'all think is the best 1-drop play you can make? Is it like Monastery Swift Spear? Is it Thoughtseize? Is it Mana Elf?
I mean,
it could be Oath. It could be Oath and Nissa. I think that's pretty contextual to where the format's going to lay.
Yeah, like all those cards I think are good enough to have decks built around them. So comparing between them, I don't think is right. But I do think like Swift Spear, Thoughtseize, and the 8 elves that are available form the core of their color. Like there's going to be Swift Spear and Soulscar decks. There's going to be Llanowar Elvish Mystic decks, and there's going to be Thoughtseize Fatal Push decks.
Yep.
So like those 3 colors have that 2 really good 1-drops. So all 3 of them will exist, but like they're going to invalidate a lot of what the rest of that color is doing.
Yeah. I'll defer to you on that. I'm not sure. It's so new. You know, we have to see what the metagame is going to be, which will dictate. It's your turn. Which will dictate what the better cards are going to be. I mean, it's just exciting times.
I know. At first, everybody seemed to be going crazy about Thoughtseize being legal in the format.
Yeah, I mean, Thoughtseize is going to be sweet. Like right now, people are playing with these crazy decks to try to break it first, but eventually, people are going to pull it back and build Thoughtseize decks.
Okay. I'm expecting a removal spell on the Swift Spear here, so I'm going to play a Royal Scions.
Okay.
I'm going to plus it to draw a discard.
Okay.
I was really hoping you would play a Saheeli, and I would get to +2, and it'd be 4 for the prowess.
Oh, yeah. That'd be spicy. Okay, I guess in response to that, I'm going to Harness Lightning, because I'm going to kill it anyways.
Yeah.
So
you want
if that changes your discard with the prowess on.
Discard,
yeah. So I will stay the same, because I have to spend 1, and then 2.
You spend 1, but then you gain 1 because you only spend 2 of it.
Exactly, yep.
No, it's not going to change it. So
okay.
You can go.
I'll untap.
Now, this is a card that can fuel Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, that's quite spicy. Okay, so we're gonna go. We lost our energy target here, but we'll blink Aether Hub and gain an energy. Your turn. Kitty cat.
That was not a bad draw. So let's plus this.
Okay.
And discard Esteem Vents.
Okay.
And then play a Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Gotcha.
And then take a point and Reckless Rage this.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
So I will get a 19 and then pass the turn.
All right. We would have liked that to live, believe it or not. Now, what do I want to do? Once again, I think I need to keep this Arcanist off the battlefield, but Royal Scion is quite obnoxious as well here. Well, I mean, we got a lot of decent cards here. Our mana base isn't necessarily agreeing with us. So I think we're just going to... I don't know what kind of counter spells and stuff you have, but to just make sure you don't get to do anything with this, we're going to lose energy to cast this.
Okay.
And I'll pass it to you. Not the ideal draw.
Let's loot with our Royal Scions.
This Royal Scion's looking really good this game.
Yep. Let's pitch a Steam Vents,
okay.
Play a Wandering Ephemeral, pass the turn.
Okay.
Set to ultimate next turn.
All right. So I will attune.
Yep. Up to 5.
Up to 5. And then we'll get a mountain here. All right, get a couple energy, and not much I can do except play a Chandra, lose an energy, and this does not deal 2 damage anymore, does it?
Nope.
That's unfortunate.
Just 2 to me.
Yeah, 2 to you.
I'll get a 17.
Your turn.
And let's ultimate the Royal Scions.
All right. I feel great about it.
So where do I want to go with this? You are at
16.
16.
Yeah, I might just be dead here.
Let's send it over to you.
Okay.
So you'll take 8. Go to 8.
All right.
I will play a mountain, play 2 Swift Spears.
Okay.
And I'm 1 short, unfortunately, of killing you.
Yay!
But let's opt, and that is not the card that lets us kill you.
But unfortunately, I mean, on a separate side, what we were talking about, like Treasure Cruise looks insane right now.
Yeah.
But
okay, so I will. So I only have 2 power here. So let's send 2 there and 2 at you.
Okay, I'm down to
Bring
6.
you to 6, and then pass the turn.
Okay.
Needed to find 1 more spell there to end this game. Couldn't do it.
Glad you didn't. No, I just don't really have much going on anyway, so I don't think this is going to be a successful game for me. We're going to tick up with the top ability, Misium Mortars. You have to cast it on the spot, right? Okay.
Yeah. Probably.
I didn't have another mana anyways.
So I'm taking 2.
No, I'm gonna cast it.
Oh, cast it. Yeah.
Yep.
Cast just the regular.
Yep.
Yep. So Swiss Spear down.
Okay, and now, I guess I'll tap this a little differently. Now, I guess I will play Oko.
Yep.
Don't think Oko is going to do too much for me here. I could turn that into an Elk and just solidify 3 damage. Then I'm just dead to Wandering Fumarole.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I'm dead.
Well, you just don't turn it into an elk. If you just make a food, if I animate Funeral,
that is only 5, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I guess I just have to put a food.
Yeah.
Still probably dead, but...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You just wanted to do your turn, didn't you?
Yeah, I have Jason double Wizard's Lightning. The only issue was this was a human, so I couldn't cast these for 1.
Okay.
So I actually needed to opt into Soulscar Mage so I could then Wizard's Lightning you for 1 minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll just deal you 6.
All right. And yeah, I mean, when you killed the Felidar Guardian, I had the combo set up, and I thought maybe, there wasn't a removal that was going to be able to kill it, because most of the time it's bolt effects, right? Like Wizard's Lightning, but the Reckless Rage was insane. I mean, taking a little note from the Boros Feather book there, I see.
Yeah,
and
I think it's going to be really important to have good removal against Felidar Guardian, because I think this combo is really good. And Reckless Rage is exactly that. 1 mana, kill Felidar Guardian. As long as I have a creature down, you don't have a ton of removal.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was the Royal Silence that won that game.
It did. Yep. You drew a bunch of cards. You got to hit me for a lot. And if we look on my end, I was playing an insanely powerful deck, and when I was on the play and I was able to basically use the energy synergies, it was pretty good, because then I could kind of backdoor the combo, because I'm making you distracted with all the Rogue Refiners, Whirl of Virtuosos and stuff. But then when it comes to me just trying to combo kill you, it's not as effective without Teferi. So maybe we see why you want some kind of protection like Teferi for this deck, and maybe where Oko maybe isn't right.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a ton of great removal for Felidar Guardian in Standard. There was Fatal Push, but not a ton of ways to revolt it. There was Harness Lightning, but that's 2 mana to leave up.
Yeah.
And
I think the best thing for it was Ballista, just having a counter on 1, and then you could just kill that.
And all those exist in this format and more. Reckless Rage we saw in that game. And in game 1, when you were able to get ahead and land Planeswalkers, and while I was sitting there drawing a Treasure Cruising, that's just a 1 shot. And it's really impressive when it does. You draw 3 whole cards, but every turn you were generating some advantage, and you just overwhelmed me in the long game, because I wasn't able to apply a ton of pressure. In both games 2 and 3, I applied a lot of pressure early, had cheap removal for your first play to out-tempo you on turn 2, turn 3.
Yeah, you played like a Blue-Red Prowess deck.
And then you weren't able to establish, a Planeswalker early, start generating your advantage. And in game 3, I was. And, I'm both pressuring you and generating an advantage with my Planeswalker. And it just snowballed too quickly.
Yeah. Exciting stuff, though. I mean, this format, we're just scratching the surface. We're going to look back in a month and just be like, well, these deck lists were terrible. Like what were we thinking? Why would we put this card in this deck? And I mean, that's the beauty of a new format, right? Like, exploration is going to be just wide open for everyone. So we have a little bit of time here, but we're going to get going, because I want to ask you guys a lot of questions in our next match. Plus, we have an exciting one matched up here. So what I based off, and I think a good place to start, but not necessarily where you have to be, is to kind of look at old Standard decks and improve them. It's a good place to start, but I think there are going to be plenty of new creations of decks that you can kind of cross, take from different sets and kind of build a deck because of that. But the deck I based this one off was Brian Braun-Duin's 2015 Worlds winning deck, where he played Ban Humans. Ban Humans with Collected Company. I think the shell is still awesome. You're abusing Coco and Thalia's Lieutenant, and I think it's pretty awesome. What do you got for round 2?
No, I agree. I think Collected Company is one of the most powerful cards in the format. There's a ton of ways to use that card as well. And I'm going to be playing, your basic red deck. This is a Tarka Red we mentioned earlier in the show. And my build of it, and in particular, I'm playing Burning Tree Emissary, Reckless Bushwhacker, which was not a combo that existed when Atarka Red was initially in Standard.
It didn't.
It was more token based. It played the prowess creatures. I'm not playing those. I'm more like get to the battlefield quickly. Not a lot of spells. Heavy on creatures. So that that'll maximize the value of Atarka's command. And I think the deck should be, one of the fun police of the format, because this deck is going to be fast. It's going to be consistent. The mana base is a little awkward.
In a mono red deck?
Well, I'm splashing, the awkward part is I'm splashing a green card. And I mentioned allied colors being better for control and slower shells.
Yeah.
I'm trying to play. Ideally, I would get to play like Castle Embereth and Ramunap Ruins. You can't play all of those if you're trying to play Rootbound Crags. So I'm actually playing Mana Confluences to help splash it. An aggressive deck should be fine. And that's definitely a card that you want to keep in mind for your aggressive decks, because I think it'll come up, especially if you want to play like multicolor human decks. If you're going to like Mantis Rider and if you're going to Mantis Rider and Collected Company, maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
It's a Mana Confluence and Unclaimed Territory.
For my third match, for my third deck, I should have thought about Mana Confluence a little better. Now that you mentioned that, it seems pretty sweet.
Yeah. So that there's a little bit of question splashing an ally color card, but I think the mana base will be good enough. And I think the deck is going to be, very powerful and very fast. So.
Okay. Well, we're not going to waste any more time. So we're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we're going to get back to this beautiful new Pioneer format. Don't go anywhere.